The arrow bent 90 degrees in midair and hit the target perfectly. This was the girl's unique skill, the technique of shaking arrows. The girl's name was Lisa. She had been hunting with her father since she was a child. Lisa's skills were also learned while hunting. Once she locked onto a target, whether it was moving or still, she could easily hit it. So every time she went hunting, she would always return with a full harvest. However, when Lisa returned home from hunting that day, an accident happened. She saw a raging fire in the distance. It turned out that the giants had broken through the high walls and were crazily hunting humans. In order to survive, she and her family evacuated urgently and retreated to a safe zone. After witnessing the cruelty of the giants, Lisa decided to join the monster-slaying squad. She swore to fight the giants to the death, but no matter how hard she tried, she just could not master the skill of flying. One day while eating, Lisa suddenly noticed that there was much less food than usual. Other team members suspected that someone had stolen their food. Hearing this, Lisa suddenly remembered several newcomers she had never seen before. They had only recently started coming to the cafeteria. Perhaps they were the thieves stealing the food. So that night, Lisa stayed alone in front of the cafeteria. Sure enough, things were exactly as she had expected. There were indeed several thieves stealing food. Just as they were about to take the food away, they realized that they had been discovered. All of them fled in panic, but one young man still wanted to take some food before leaving. As a result, Lisa's superb archery skills forced him behind an obstacle. He thought he was safe now. At that moment, Lisa drew her bow again, aiming at the front right side of the obstacle. She bit off half of the arrow's tail and released the arrow. The arrow turned 90 degrees in midair and pinned the boy to the cart. Not until Lisa walked out did he realize how the arrow had hit him. The girl accidentally dropped a potato while moving things. This potato would completely change the beggar's fate. The beggar picked up the potato and reminded the girl she had dropped something. Seeing the beggar's kind nature despite her ragged clothes, the girl took her in and gave her a job in the kitchen of her restaurant. Unexpectedly, the beggar's skillful slicing of meat was perfectly consistent in length. The chefs marveled, saying even the master chef couldn't match her knife skills. It turned out the young man was a 3-time champion of a cooking competition, but his apprentice, wanting to become the top chef, poisoned his tea. Although the young man didn't die from the poison, he lost his memory and became a beggar. The girl, seeing the young man's good character and no place to go, took him in and gave him a job as an assistant to the master chef. Seeing how close they were, the master chef became jealous. He intentionally made things difficult for the young man, asking him to slice the meat. Each slice had to be 1 inch long and 3 millimeters wide to preserve the perfect texture of the meat. Before the master chef even finished speaking, the young man had already prepared the meat and placed it in front of him. The meat slices were perfect, with no deviation. Everyone praised the young man's knife skills, saying they surpassed the master chef's. The master chef took the meat, showing disdain and claiming it was just passable. To get rid of the young man and marry the girl, the master chef asked him to beat an egg. Not only should the egg be beaten evenly, but quickly as well, so that the egg white and yolk completely blend together, and a chopstick can stand upright on top of the egg. To everyone's surprise, the young man achieved the master's requirement with ease. The others thought the young man was qualified to be the assistant chef, but the master chef, wanting to get rid of him, thought of another challenge. This time, he asked the young man to coat the pork tenderloin in batter, with the sauce no thicker than 1 millimeter. If even a drop of sauce spilled, the young man would have to leave. The young man first dipped the pork in the batter, then used his internal energy to evenly coat it. With one hand, he slapped the chopping board, and all the battered pork pieces were perfectly arranged on the plate. There wasn't a single drop of sauce on his hands. Everyone was amazed, guessing the young man was using qigong techniques. The master chef, feeling defeated, refused to acknowledge the young man's skill, but the young man had already completed all his tasks. The master chef had no choice but to let him stay in the kitchen as an assistant. Later, the master chef made a plate of sweet and sour pork and asked the young man to serve it to President Wang. The young man immediately noticed a problem with the dish. He said the sauce was too thick, which would affect the crispness. President Wang would likely not be satisfied with it. The master chef, enraged, insisted the young man had no right to critique his dish. At that moment, the girl hurried into the kitchen, saying President Wang was waiting to taste the dish, and took it out. The restaurant owner, originally hoping this dish would earn a 5-star rating, was shocked when President Wang spat it out, calling it subpar. The owner didn't believe it and tried the dish himself, and indeed, the taste was lacking. He asked the girl to tell the kitchen to make a new signature dish, but the master chef, being the most skilled cook at the restaurant, claimed that sweet and sour pork was his specialty. The other chefs were doubtful they could make a dish that would satisfy President Wang. At that moment, the young man silently started to cut the ingredients. The master chef tried to stop him, saying even if they made a new dish, it wouldn't be his job to do it. However, seeing the young man's knife skills, the girl was impressed. She decided to let him make the dish and placed the future of the restaurant in his hands. The young man took a chicken and began preparing it. Meanwhile, the owner was trying to calm President Wang's frustration. Suddenly, the rival restaurant owner arrived with 3 chefs to provoke them. them. They first mocked the sweet and sour pork, then invited President Wang to their restaurant to try their food. Coincidentally, the young man walked by with a newly prepared dish. When the rival owner saw the dish, which was a mud ball, he immediately began to ridicule it. President Wang was about to leave in anger, but the young man smashed open the mud ball with a hammer, revealing a lotus leaf inside. Then, a phoenix flew out from the lotus leaf. This scene stunned everyone present. Even the president of the Food Association, Mr. Wang, was left speechless. He exclaimed that the fragrance of the dish was so smooth and divine, as if he were in an enchanted realm. He couldn't help but drool. The girl, aiming for the hotel's 5-star rating, asked Mr. Wang to taste the dish. Unexpectedly, the rival hotel owner deliberately caused trouble, instructing his staff to fake a fall and knock over the chicken. Seeing this, the owner of the girls' hotel became furious, accusing the other side of intentional sabotage. However, the rival hotel's owner was clearly there to challenge them, and to have Mr. Wang as the judge, the losing hotel would have to shut down, and never again engage in the food industry. Reluctantly, the girls' hotel owner accepted the challenge. The first round would be a knife skill contest. The rival hotel sent a chef who was a descendant of the knife god, ranked first in the world for knife skills. Seeing that no one dared to step forward, the girl decided to participate herself. She was ridiculed by the rival hotel owner, who claimed that with her petite figure, she wouldn't be able to hold a knife. At this critical moment, the young man stepped forward again, deciding to participate in the contest. Seeing this, everyone urged the owner to pick someone else, as the young man was just a beggar and not qualified to compete. Hearing this, everyone thought he was certain to lose. Yet, the young man remained calm and unruffled. Watching the rival chef's exquisite knife skills, the crowd began to praise the competitor, thinking that it was a rare opportunity to witness such knife skills. Even Mr. Wang expressed his approval. Then, the young man began to demonstrate his knife skills. When the young man closed his eyes, everyone started mocking him, thinking he had fallen asleep. Unbeknownst to them, the young man was using his golden eyes, and after observing the structure of the fish, he picked up his knife and began to slice. However, his knife work was soon criticized by the crowd, who thought he had no chance of winning. Sure enough, when the two presented their fish slices on the table, Mr. Wang praised the rival chef's slices for being thin and delicate, while he criticized the young man's slices as subpar. Just as he was about to announce the winner of the first round, the crowd noticed that the fish the young man had sliced was still alive. This miraculous knife skill amazed everyone. In the end, Mr. Wang declared the young man the winner. The girl couldn't believe the beggar she had taken and had such exceptional culinary skills. The second round was focused on pasta. The rival hotel sent a competitor who was a descendant of the royal palace chefs. Looking at the competitor's elderly appearance, the head chef of the girls' hotel felt confident he could beat him, so he volunteered for this round of the contest. He was full of confidence in the noodles he had made, mocking the elderly competitor, claiming he was sure to lose. However, he underestimated the man's true ability. The man used his inner strength to knead the dough, then began to stretch the dough into long, thin noodles, and even started waving them around his head. At this point, someone realized the man was making dragon dance noodles. Upon the young man's reminder, the head chef quickly threw the noodles into the pot to cook. When both sides served their noodles in bowls, the young man was already certain the head chef had lost. Sure enough, Mr. Wang, after inspecting both dishes, announced the rival hotel as the winner. This deeply disheartened the head chef. Now, the score between the two hotels was 1-1, and the winner would be determined in the third round. In the third round, the contestants would each make a dish. The girl remembered the young man's exceptional culinary skills from earlier, so she decided to have him represent the hotel in this round. Although the head chef and others disagreed, there was no other choice but to have the young man compete. Seeing the rival hotel's contestant, the hotel owner exclaimed that he was the grandchild of the culinary god. Everyone thought they had already lost this round. What they didn't know was that the young man was the culinary god himself. Soon, the third round officially began.